How did Gregg v. Georgia impact capital punishment? Imagine a time when the death penalty was on hold across the United States. That pause lasted 42 years after a Supreme Court case called Furman v. Georgia. Then came Gregg v. Georgia in 1976, a case that changed everything about how the death penalty works today. This case was about whether the death penalty was still allowed under the Constitution, especially the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment says that punishments must not be cruel or unusual. The Supreme Court decided that the death penalty could be used, but only if certain rules were followed. This decision ended the nationwide halt on executions and set new standards for how states could carry out capital punishment. The court said that the death penalty itself was not automatically cruel or unusual. Instead, it was about how it was applied. They looked at Georgia's system and found it had safeguards to prevent unfair or random decisions. One big change was the introduction of what is called a bifurcated trial. That means there are two parts to the case. First, a trial to decide if the person is guilty. Then, a second trial to decide if they should get the death penalty. This process makes sure the jury carefully considers all the facts before sentencing someone to death. Another important point from the case was that juries must find specific aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt. These are reasons that make the death penalty appropriate, like murder during another crime or for money. This rule helps narrow down who can be sentenced to death, making the process more fair. The court also said that judges and juries should have some discretion but within strict limits. They should consider the unique details of each case to avoid unfair or biased decisions. Even though Gregg upheld the death penalty, it also made it clear that the Eighth Amendment can change over time. Later cases have banned the death penalty for crimes like raping a person or for defendants with intellectual disabilities. This shows that the court continues to interpret the Constitution and protect rights. Knowing your rights means understanding that the law requires a fair process when it comes to the death penalty. It cannot be applied randomly or without clear rules. The Gregg case made sure that the death penalty is only used when proper procedures are followed, respecting the constitutional ban on cruel and unusual punishments. It set the foundation for how executions are carried out in the United States today, balancing justice with constitutional protections.